Buckeye Cast. The brotherhood, playing for the guy next to you, playing for the team.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? You're tuned in to the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast. Tradition of Ohio State. We take that serious.
These fellas were born and bred in the Buckeye State.
Buckeye Cast. The people of Ohio, we work every day to make them proud.
Visit us at thebuckeyecast.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast.
Now here's your host, Joe Warwick.
I'm proud to be part of this group. Go Bucks! What's up, Buckeye Nation? We are back. I got Shawn up in Detroit coming at you, coming in hot.
What's up?
What's happening, Shawn?
How you doing, man?
Good, good. We're getting fired up for this Buckeye season. It is fucking game month. Not game day yet. It's game month. We are playing football for real this month that people are going to pay attention to. Yes. Believe that.
I like it.
Yeah, we are there. Weeks away from Buckeye fucking football. I don't care who we're playing. As always, folks, please subscribe to the Buckeye Cast. Download. If you want to leave a review, that'd be fantastic. Follow us on all social media. We got all the good shit out there. And, of course, don't forget to visit the T-shirt store, the Buckeye Cast supply store.
I got my new T-shirt.
How'd you like it?
I love it. It's sweet. That's some serious material too, man.
Is that a tri-blend kind of thing?
I'd have to look at the tag, but
yeah,
something like that. And I got the Woody on there, and because I couldn't go for 3, it's tight.
Nice. And as always, folks, I can give you 20% off your order, no matter how big or how small. Use the promo code TBCSS20, TBCSS20. Take 20% off your order. And no shirt, guys or girls, is over $35. We try to keep our costs low so that we can keep your money in your pocket. We're not trying to make a lot of money. Would like to make some money to pay for this podcast, though. And everything goes back to the show. And we're going to hopefully grow this thing. We are launching Season 4. This is Episode 1 of Season 4, Shawn. You believe this?
That's crazy. I can't really believe it.
That means we started our show back in 2016.
We've had a nice run.
Yeah. So let's hope for 4 more. But I want to kick off the show real quick with a little bit of a somber tone. I want to put thoughts and prayers out there, send them out to everybody in Dayton, back in the Buckeye land. Anything that happens negatively in Ohio, I feel it no matter where I'm at. Even though I'm down in Florida, I still feel it. I see it a lot on social media. So keep your head up, Dayton, and let's get through this thing and immerse ourselves in some football for a little bit of kind of therapeutic kind of healing.
Same thing here, and also El Paso. It's just tragic.
Definitely, yeah. So anyway, let's take it up a notch. It's football season. Let's go. Let's get fired up. We got recruiting.
We're camping.
Yeah, recruiting updates. We're going to talk a little some depth chart for the offensive line as it's been seen. And a little Ryan Day press conference. We're going to give you some nuggets from that and kind of weave in our opinions on where we think the 2 deep is headed, guys that are slipping, guys that are rising up, things like that. And this seems to be a recurring segment for us, kind of organically, and that is banging on Harbaugh. We didn't create the shit. He creates the problem. We just have to put it out there and highlight it, right?
He's so weird. You can't not.
He becomes a target. It's like he wants the bullseye on his chest, you know?
I know it.
Well, stupidity, I guess. I don't know. Maybe his brother John got all the brains in the family. I don't know.
It appears that way.
Super Bowl champ at least, if nothing else. And we'll get into a couple other nuggets if we have time later on. Nothing nothing worth mentioning right now. But so let's jump into this recruiting, Shawn. We're well aware, everybody that follows Ohio State recruiting is aware that, we lost out on Bijan Robinson and Jalen Knighton within a few days' time. Kind of skeptical as to how things went down there with Bijan going to
that turned
Texas.
Cold really quick, right? I mean, he kind of came out and said, I'm kind of looking elsewhere, and then boom, Texas.
I respect the kid for having the stones to call up the staff and say, look, I'm looking elsewhere, and the speculation was it was USC or Texas. And the last we heard post his commitment was that somebody in his family wanted him, or decided late that they wanted him to stay close to home. So, who knows?
Is Austin that close to Phoenix? I mean,
I would assume so. It's probably, it's a lot closer than Columbus, I'm sure, by flight,
But I think that's...
So, and obviously SC is much closer, but, and don't forget, we're going against Stan Drayton down there in Texas, former Buckeye running back coach of yesteryear. So, he's not a terrible recruiter. He's brought in some quality over his time with the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
See Zeke Elliott. So Texas gets Bijan, and then Florida State, they're kind of the local team there for Jalen Knighton, so not surprised he chose them, but from what I'm hearing, don't count the Buckeyes out there. Florida kids tend to be a little flighty, to say the least, and they like to go with the new shiny thing in front of their face, and he was just at the they called it Saturday Night Live. It's Florida State's big recruiting event, and he committed the next day after visiting that event. So I think this is going to go down to December. We're going to see, if not these guys, we're going to see at least one commitment from a running back, probably after their season, and because most of them are in camp now and focused on their senior years, So I don't expect any commitments until after the high school seasons are over. So early signing in December is when I think we're gonna see something happen. I
mean, if they just go on an all-out tear and Dobbins is putting up a monster year, maybe you could get one of these higher-ranked kids late in the cycle,
right.
that would flip. But I think if you weren't that hot on them or cooled on them at one point and are now trying to go back, if they're the higher-rated kids, I don't know. It's going to be tough to rip those kids out from where they're at. Yeah. Again, unless Ohio State has a magical year and the running game looks solid.
Yeah.
Now, the guys you can get are some really good backs, 3 stars or something that committed to Michigan State or Kentucky, or, we rip one of those guys that would love to come play for a big program but just didn't get the offer until now.
Right. I think best case scenario is you get these kids on campus for a visit for a game week, and have them visit for a home game, and then visit the campus and the facility and all that. Then let them mull it over, those who haven't committed yet, and even Jalen Knighton, don't forget about him. And then they make a decision, late November, beginning of December. I think that's what's going to happen. You just got to get them on campus and have them bring the family, and the program will sell itself.
It kind of sucks though, because I think we kind of cooled on everybody else because we thought we had that kid. I mean, that's the game, right?
Right.
And then that kid's you're getting all the right reads from him or whatever's going on there.
Yep.
And then you don't stay up with the rest of the stuff, and that's gone, and now you're like, shit, what am I going to do?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'll run through the 3 guys that seem to be at the top of the board right now. E.J. Smith, Emmitt Smith's kid out of Dallas.
That's what I want.
Yeah, these guys are all purpose backs. E.J., he's a 4-star. So versus Bijan was more of just a true running back. He was not really an all-purpose back. He's a little bit bigger, so kind of a between the tackles, pound the rock kind of guy. So EJ is a 4-star, and they've had to go back and, rekindle some relationships. Michael Drennan, local guy, which does help. He's out of Dublin Kaufman in the Columbus area. He's another all-purpose back. It's a 4-star. This kid he's accepted by, he's been recruited by Stanford and high-end schools. So this kid basically has his choice, of where to go. So might be a little tough.
Oh, well, dang. Come on, let's...
Yeah. Keeping him home would be great, but, if the kid has options, maybe he takes them. I don't know.
Well, why wouldn't you go? I mean, unless you just like, hey, man, I want to go have my college experience, not around my whole high school.
Right.
And head out to Stanford.
Yeah.
That'd be the only one I could see that offers maybe a different vibe and see why you'd go anywhere else.
Yeah. And then the last one was 4-star Texas running back Trey Bradford. Don't know much about this kid. They just recently offered him after Bijan and Knighton fell through. So this is a new relationship that Tony Alford's had to spark up, and I could see this kid, going through the season, maybe get him on campus, and then he makes a decision late November.
So those three aren't committed at all?
Correct.
Or they are, and we're just hoping to flip them?
No commitments from them.
I'd love, my first pick there, come on, you know how I feel about Emmitt Smith.
Sure.
Best running back of all time. I'll take his kid.
Right. As long as he's not suffering from affluenza.
If you're a 4-star, Emmett's too cool. Emmett got himself a good boy. I just know it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. So yeah, those are the big targets right now. I'm sure we need to take at least one. They had designs on taking 2, but obviously that fell through, and they're not just going to take a second running back just to take a mediocre player.
I don't know. Who do we got back there right now? I think they might reach a little deep for one, and then.
Well, they got.
I mean, who's back there? You got Dobbins, who's going to be gone.
Right. Teague.
Then you got Teague, who hasn't locked up the second spot by any means.
Right.
And McCall.
Right.
This year, of course, but isn't this his last year? So he's gone. So next year it's Teague, and then who?
You got Crowley from Florida, Gatorade Player of the Year in the state. Steel Chambers is in that room.
Steel Chambers is playing running back?
Yeah, true freshman. And you got a couple walk-ons. So, yeah, truly scholarship players, you're limited. So, at least one. It depends on who they take at other positions and how quickly the class fills up. It may just be a one running back class, but we'll see.
I don't get it. I would think if I'm a top end quarterback, it's about as good as a spot to get in Ohio State coming in next year as you're going to have.
Right.
Anywhere in the country ever.
Right.
It's set up to be huge next year.
Exactly.
And your top 2 or 3 are going to be gone. I mean, you can get serious playing time on a seriously good football team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll see. Obviously, running back is a high profile position, and we've got to get at least one. There are other positions Buckeyes are still recruiting. Can always use another linebacker, and we'll see what happens there. But let's get into some of Ryan Day's press conference highlights, and we'll talk about kind of his quote and how that leads into the depth chart. First of all, though, I wanted to ask you about this Brenton Cox situation. Kid from Georgia who is transferring out, was supposedly kicked off the team, not kicked off the team. They say he didn't really fit in with the team, so not sure if that was an issue. They said he fell down the depth chart. If you remember, he was a Buckeye commit in the class of 2018. Would have played last year probably as a true freshman, I would imagine, as a 5-star. I mean, got to get him on the field, you think?
I don't know. He's in a deep spot.
5 stars, though, dude.
Yeah, but we're better than our D-line's better than Georgia's D-line, and couldn't make it on that field.
He could have played 4 games and still redshirted.
Yeah, I mean, you can get him out there in a blowout late, but I mean, you had Bosa and yeah, I don't know.
He had a misdemeanor drug charge. Like 6 guys on the team were arrested for a marijuana charge. Like they just decided to give everybody a fucking marijuana charge. I mean, seriously, what year is this? It's fucking Georgia, though, so they're about 200 years.
So it sounds like he was getting along with the team if he's out smoking weed with them.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Puff, give. But so they say Larry Johnson had a great relationship with him and was very close to him. He's also close to Antoine Jackson, D-tackle for the Buckeyes out of Auburn, transfer. Remember that? Still with the team. Don't hear anything about him. But
I know. I would have thought he would have been making some noise.
Yeah. I think even if he has like a minor suspension for maybe getting popped for a positive drug test and he has to sit out a few games, what's the damage? If the kid is on the straight and narrow and really just got popped for a one night of stupidity, being with the wrong people kind of thing. What's the damage bring in a 5-star?
But what's the real... Well, because if he's a douchebag, he can mess up your locker room. And if he's not getting along with Georgia, why couldn't he get along with those kids?
I don't know. I think a lot of this is speculation because
the transfers and the quitting and moving, I'm skeptical about it. I'm not saying it can't be for the right reasons. I'm not saying it can't work out. I'm just saying when it happens, I'm like hypercritical of it. And
I think the issue is he was talked in from somebody. I don't know. It could have been that third uncle or a distant cousin. Somebody talked him into staying home in Georgia, and that could be part of the problem. You staying home sometimes keeps you around the same people, and you maybe need to get away from those people, and get around some. Look at the Buckeyes support staff. I mean, most of the guys, they're all good kids. Look at the quality of players that Ohio State's recruiting, and
that's just crazy to me. These are not only premier elite athletes, but they seem like pretty elite individuals personally.
Yeah. So, I was just curious how you felt about that because if we,
I will trust the coaches. I think the coaches are looking for a certain type of kid,
right.
And if they think Brenton Cox is that type of kid, then I think it's a no-brainer for them. But if they've got reservations, then I'll respect obviously whatever they do.
Yeah,
and it'll be the right decision because I ain't got no damn information on it.
Well, look, Larry Johnson wanted to bring him in 2018 or 2017 when they were recruiting him. So he obviously got the blessing of Larry Johnson and Herb.
Well, so did Parsons as a 5-star, and but that didn't turn out as it planned. And I think we maybe both cooled on one another.
We had to back off Parsons because of that NCAA violation. Where game day was on the set on campus in Columbus, and they let Parsons come up there and get a photo with Herb Street and Corso and those fucks, and that was an NCAA violation. So we basically, as a program, had to back off, say, we'll back off recruiting him, and so the kid had to go elsewhere.
I mean, that's an unwritten rule. That's not what you're fined with.
Right. I mean, it was basically, you know, kind of under the table almost kind of agreement that with the NCAA, it's like, okay, we'll not recruit this kid anymore. Let him go wherever he wants to, and so a little different situation there. So anyway, let's jump into this Ryan Day press conference. Number one, I think this is the highest priority on the team right now, this position group, and that's the backup running back. You know, who knows what could happen if J.K. goes down? We could be in a world of hurt because J.K. is expected to carry the load, keep a lot of heat off of Justin Fields, especially in the first 6 games. So until Fields can get comfortable and you know, his feet under him. So this backup running back spot is, I believe, one of the most important on the team. So what we're looking at, we got Teague, we talked about, McCall, we talked about, and Marcus Crowley, the true freshman, early enrollee. Again, Gatorade Player of the Year in Florida, coming out of Jacksonville Christian, same school as Tyreek Johnson and Shawn Wade. This is another one of those schools.
That's a good school.
It's a good fucking school, yeah. So they crank out some talent, and I don't know how you get kind of how you fly under the radar as the Florida Gatorade Player of the Year, but Marcus Crowley did it. And again, I do need to mention Brian Snead. Losing him was fucking huge, dude. He was.
Why'd we lose him again?
Issue off the field. I don't have a lot of details on it. From what I've read, it's a he said, she said kind of situation, similar to Damon Webb. And fortunately, Damon Webb was able to stay with the team, whereas Snead, you know, we saw him in a few games early on in the season, and something happened. And anyway, so he was one of the top running backs in the country, though.
Yeah.
So losing him is fucking huge, and it's not something you can plan for early on in 2018. You know, it's not like you're ready to lose a kid for the rest of his college career. So that's why we're kind of scrambling for this backup running back. Really, I'm sure the coaching staff 2 years ago probably saw Snead as the backup to J.K. and then the heir apparent to the starting running back.
Think.
Right. So now we're kind of scrambling, and that's why we're looking at freaking DeMario to be a running back. And Teague, the big dog, the sledgehammer, and then the freshman Crowley. You don't want to have to typically rely on a freshman running back. But we're kind of in that place right now. So anyway,
I mean it's thin back there.
Yeah. So Ryan Day's quote was, "J.K. can't handle all of that by himself. He's going to need help. We really don't have a legitimate backup running back right now." That says a lot right there. That sentence to me.
I don't know if it says more about McCall's making strides, because I pretty much figured pencil in Teague as the backup. But it's not. I can't believe Teague hasn't just grabbed a hold of that.
Right. And going on, he says, we don't have that. We have a lot of guys battling for it, but we don't have a legitimate backup running back right now. That's the kind of backup role right now that is critical for us on offense to try to figure out who that is. And I agree with him 100%. I mean, he also said about DeMario, he's working on being a backup running back. He has a wide variety of skills. He's focusing on running back right now. I don't know if we have to have him on the field, but he has to prove it. And so, you got to remember, DeMario's gone through this kind of 3-year in the doghouse with Urban, and then Injuries mixed in there. Just had the injury in spring. That's why we didn't see him in practice. So he's had this roller coaster ride of being in the doghouse plus injuries, and that's been kind of anchoring him away from doing anything. And plus he worked at receiver last year.
And yep. And here's the thing, though. Almost back. What if he is the backup or even the third with Teague? At that point, do you even let him return punts and kickoffs? You want your running back there doing that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially he's in the mix for the punt return. They haven't settled on somebody. I'm thinking they're going to go back to KJ, just somebody that's sure-handed. Because, not to get off on a tangent here, but we're going to anyways. For punt return, I think they just want a sure-handed guy that's not going to turn it over. Because the offense is so explosive, you don't want to give up the fucking ball, So, anyway, but, yeah, DeMario has been working at receiver for the last year or so, and he has all these skills, and I think if he doesn't become the backup and Teague probably takes it, then I think you've got to come up with a package for DeMario specifically to get him out. Remember Dontre Wilson, and I think we've had this discussion before. Kind of a Dontre Wilson package where you feature him, get him out in space like against a linebacker like we saw against Michigan. Devin Bush was fucking falling on the ground trying to cover him down the sideline. So yeah, he shit his fucking golden pants trying to cover DeMario. So I think if assuming Teague takes that backup role, which he very likely could, you got to get DeMario on the field still. Maybe 10 touches a game or something.
I'd love to see it. I don't know if there's that many touches to go around though. I'm thinking Fields is going to run it 10 times.
Right.
Dobbins is going to run it 17 times.
At least. Probably closer to 25, I think.
I don't know. I mean, as little as you have to, right?
Yeah, but you got, they're in this sticky situation where you got this virtually a freshman quarterback, first-year guy, that really is still picking up the offense. They're still installing it, and this is the fall. And the running is, they got to rely on the running back to, kind of carry them through some games. Not to mention the defense.
There's going to be some games where, I think J.K. has close to 30 carries, like against Penn State or Michigan, but he better not have 30 against Miami of Ohio.
Sure, I agree. That's where you need to get some fresh bodies in there and take some of those hits late in the game, or even the second half. So, Ryan Day's kind of calling out DeMario the way I read this. Especially his last sentence, he says he has to prove it. So, basically, Day's throwing down the gauntlet and saying, you're the senior, not senior, but you have the seniority in the room after JK, and you need to fucking prove it. Let's see it. I agree. He's put on weight. He's, I know you can't control injury, but maybe you need to, stick it out.
I put people on saying, but that's what he needed. He's fragile.
Right.
But he's fast.
He's put on weight.
Fast what's he up to, like $195?
Yeah, he's up there. And remember, this kid is a top 50 kid in his class. It's not like he was a 3-star.
He's got shakes and he's fast.
Yeah.
He is fast.
Again.
I think this Jalen Gill, I can't wait to see this kid too.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I want to talk receivers here coming up next. But Devin Bush is in the fucking NFL, got drafted, and DeMario made him look stupid. So, let's get it together, Superman. All right. Moving on to Ryan Day's quotes. He talked about Garrett Wilson, incoming freshman, came in January, battling for a backup spot. And when you say battling for a backup spot, that means something when you're in a rotation of 6 dudes, like the Buckeyes will do at wide receivers. So saying he's a backup just means he's in the fucking rotation. So he's going to play a lot of football. He's going to be on the field. So Ryan Day's quote was, he's fighting right now for a backup spot and an opportunity to play. If you're a backup receiver at Ohio State, you're going to play a lot of football with the way we rotate those guys. He's right there right now, and how he practices over the next couple of weeks is going to determine how much he plays. But he's flashed for sure, and we saw that in the spring game, of course, with the touchdown catch. But I agree. You know, he's got to go out there, prove it again, you know, and we'll see. But I think he's in the mix.
Oh, I definitely think he's in the mix. I don't think he's going to take over, you know, all the upperclassmen in front of him. I just don't think that's just out of respect, since those guys are the senior guys that have put in all that work. They're going to be the starters. The Max, if Max healthy, I think. Yeah. Vic, obviously KJ.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think Garrett Wilson will get in there. I'm interested to see Olave will be in that mix, and who's going to be that other guy that's on the team right now that's going to get some plays in there. That's what I'm curious to see.
Right here, this is my rotation of 6, and I think this is the way we're going to see it. And the 6 includes 3 positions, so you got X, Z, and the H. So at H, you're going to see KJ and Jalen Gill. I think at Z, you're going to see Ben Vick and probably Austin Mack. And then you're going to have Olave and Garrett Wilson at the X. What'd I say? X? Yeah. Z for Mack and Vick. So that's my rotation of 6. Jalen Gill's put on some weight. He's up to like 195, so he's definitely game ready.
Is this his second or third year in the program?
Second. Probably got redshirted last year. I don't recall seeing him at all. So
yeah, I don't remember seeing him either.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my rotation. I think it'll be interesting to see if anybody else cracks that rotation, and especially if there's an injury. You know, who's the next man up will be interesting to see.
I gotta say, I love that rotation.
Yeah, you got Elijah Gardner's been in the program for 3 years, and Jalen Harris been in the program.
I'd like to see Harris get some PT.
Right. So, yeah, maybe they get some early garbage time. We'll see how things play out there, but I think that 6-man rotation is very interesting, and to see who becomes, you know, who do you think it would be the leader in yards at the end of the year out of those 6?
I just think that the H is going to be such a safety valve for young quarterback. I can't see it being anybody but KJ.
Yeah, nice short over the middle kind of throws.
Yeah.
Yeah. High percentage passes. That makes sense. Yeah. So.
But I know what's his name talked up Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
quarterback Fields was saying that, hey, that kid's a stud.
Yeah. Well, he's in the mix. So, he's in that 6-man rotation.
Well, and that position it lines up well. You know, Garrett's young; he's getting a chance. But next year, again, 3 of those guys are gone. KJ's gone, Mac's gone, Ben Victor's gone.
Yeah.
So, okay, you'll have Olave back. You have Garrett Wilson back. You got Jalen Gill. There's 3 open spots.
Right.
To get some early playing time. And with those boys coming in, we're going to see a lot of those freshmen next year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Yeah, that rotation is going to be super young next year. Yeah. Did you hear about this? You remember Enoch Vamahi from Hawaii? The O-lineman? He's only been in the program since June. He's been in Columbus since June. So 2 months, the kid has put on over 40 fucking pounds. He's up in the 290s now. This is amazing.
Is he on steroids?
No, I think he's on the freshman 15 plan, but like every week. He must be on some good stuff.
That's insane.
Yeah, maybe it's the Nicholas NPF diet, right? But
and that's all fat. I mean, you can only put on so much muscle at a time.
Well, Mick's not going to let him be a fat, sloppy bastard, though. You can't walk around there being...
but you can't just put it in the gullet that turns the muscle, man. 40 pounds? Yeah. 10 of it, 15 of it might be turned to muscle. There's 25 of slop in there.
Imagine how many shits you have to take every day. With that intake,
maybe
some of it has to come
maybe
out.
He doesn't.
Oh, fuck. It's even worse. So, yeah, but my point there was he's going on a 2-year mission after his freshman year. So, basically, he needs to be ready for, like 3 years from now. He needs to show that he's going to be back and ready.
So he's a freshman this year, going to go on a mission for 2 years and then come back?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yep.
All right.
He just has to maintain 290 plus pounds for 2 years, that's all. Seems perfectly normal.
What do you mean? He gained 40. The guy will be 800 pounds by the time he comes back.
Great. As long as you still have good footwork.
40, everything else.
Better have some good footwork. But... yeah, that fucking blew me away. Only been there 2 months. But, yeah. The other day, the Buckeye QBs had 4 INTs in practice. Coach Day said he's not bothered by that because they're still installing the offense, and that, you know, his mantra is you learn from failure, which makes sense. I got no problem with it. You know, it's still early.
I like it. We got a hell of a defense. Why not pick them off?
Exactly, yeah, and that's what he touched on. He said that his quote was, "They're flying to the ball. They're making plays on the ball. They're playing with vision and producing right now." So,
yeah, I mean, we've got a badass secondary.
Josh Proctor
against the freshman quarterback.
Yeah. Josh Proctor, and that not just
I'd
Fields.
expect us to have a lot.
Yeah, they got like Gunnar Hoax young in the system, and Chugs. So these guys are not great experienced quarterbacks that they're going against. But yeah, Josh Proctor had 2 of the picks. This kid, I've heard a lot of good shit about this kid. I've heard former Buckeyes that have been around practice in the facility. They say this kid is a freak and he needs to be on the field. Even Alex Grinch said, even after he left the Buckeyes, you know, the former, you know, DB's coach and he was safeties coach, I think. Taver Johnson was corners, but he was like co-DC with Shiano last year.
Right.
He said that Josh Proctor is somebody that has to get on the field. This kid's good. So, got to see it. Not sure where they're going to fit him in, but you got a senior Jordan Fuller out there. I don't know how he's going to work in, but this kid looks like he's a Malik Hooker type.
What about the other safety spot? Why can't he get in that other safety spot?
Well, I think they're going to, from what we're seeing, they're going to run with one deep safety. That's Jordan Fuller. And then the other safety is going to be a bullet.
And always have the bullet?
Yep. B. White and Jocelyn Wynn.
I got it. I'm betting they put in a more traditional package sometimes, and that might be when Proctor gets on the field.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I'm imagining White probably beefed up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact, but I don't know what type of body they want that bullet to have.
You still got Isaiah Pryor at safety, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of loaded back there, you know, outside of Fuller. You know, take Fuller off the field, yeah, it's kind of an open competition, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they can possibly get Proctor on the field. I noticed they did change his number to 41, so maybe he got into doghouse a little bit. You know, you don't get your number knocked down to 41 without something going wrong. Maybe you miss a class or two, you know. Nobody gets saddled with that number, that's for sure. But so yeah, B. White and Jocelyn Wynn are the Bullets. You know, they're basically, it's the same as you remember the star position under Tress when Coach Tress was running that. They had Dante Whitner, he would play that star. Jermel Hines, Tyler Moeller, those guys. You know, they were built like safeties. You know, 220. Something like that, but fast. But they would come up at the line and play like a linebacker, you know.
Right.
So that's what the same position. It's the same shit. It's just being recycled. Different name.
Well, it'll be interesting. Let's see. You know, if it stops people from having giant plays against us, I'm all for it.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad that 4 INTs by the quarterbacks is not a concern right now. So he did say, Ryan Day did say that if they're throwing 4 INTs a week from now, then we have a major problem. So things are going to evolve quickly, it sounds. Cocktail.
I don't know, man. It's Okudah, Wade, and Arnett back there. They're going to get theirs.
Oh, dude. Okudah is such a smooth character, man. Love this kid. First-round draft pick, already penciled in. Probably an All-American. Kid is crazy talented. They're going to keep that fucking cycle going with the Buckeye DBs.
I think Shawn Wade might surprise some folks, too.
He could easily put together a solid year and be a top draft pick too. I don't know about first round, but
I don't know, man. I bet you he could.
He
puts together.
Yeah,
depends on who's going to play,
right?
I guess.
Well, they're going to have a rotation. That's to be, you know, that's going to happen. You're going to get Seven Banks. We're going to see a lot more of him at corner. You're going to see some Tyreek Johnson. And Marcus Williamson. Reap is working in at safety. I don't know how much we're going to see of him. I do like his ball skills, but we're going to see Tyreek Johnson.
I've been waiting to see some Tyreek.
Yeah, Marcus Williamson, and then who did I just say? The other guy.
Seven Banks.
Banks, yeah. So those guys, especially early in the year, they're gonna get exposure, and we're gonna, you know, it's the same old story. You know, they're young, and they're gonna go through their growing pains, like we saw with Garyon Conley getting torched at Michigan State. You know, Denzel Ward as a young guy. We're gonna go through these growing pains with these kids, and hopefully it doesn't cost us a game. You know, or major points. You know. So, but they got to get on the field because that's the only way you're going to see if they're going to float or swim, you know, when they're in live bullets. So, other than that, didn't really touch on linebackers much, although Tough is still taking all the first team reps. Taraja, Mahida rotates in with Tough. And I don't know, man. I think we're going to see a rotation throughout the year. I don't know how you keep that kind of talent off the field with Taraja. He's a human highlight in a bad way. The kid comes with bad intentions.
I know it. I want to see that kid play.
Yeah.
Tough find. If you earn it, then earn it. I feel like they create this bullet position to cover for Tough's lack of speed. Like, all right, get up there, and when Tough can't tackle,
right.
You do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's certainly going to chase anybody down.
Yeah. He came back way too early from that injury. I feel like they kind of forced him out there because he knew where to line everybody up. But when he was depended on to make a play, a lot of times he was just, carrying a fucking wheelbarrow. He just was too slow. So
yeah.
But this fucking Taraja is a fucking lightning bolt. He will light your ass up. This kid, I love watching him on special teams. I think they cannot hold him back. They have to get him in the rotation. And interestingly, they're moving Baron Browning out to the outside. Excuse me, to the outside linebacker. And so, I think if you're going to switch to maybe a nickel or bring in a bullet, then you're going to see the two linebackers on the field be Malik Harrison. Malik should never come off the field. He should always be on the field. That kid's a playmaker. And then Baron Browning is going to be the other linebacker. I think those are, because they're the two fastest, right? I mean, you're not going to keep a middle linebacker out there if you switch to a two linebacker set. So, yeah, I think Harrison and Browning are on the field if you go to a two linebacker, bring in a fifth DB of some sort.
Yeah, but I wouldn't count out that Pete Werner would be on the field for that.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, man. Al Washington and Greg Madison, being the cocksuckers they are from Michigan, they basically, when they came in, they said nobody has a secured spot. So everybody is starting from scratch. And I think somebody's going to have to get kind of edged out. And if this bullet position is it, then that's going to edge out Pete Werner. The way I see it. He's not fast enough. He's not as fast as B. White or Jocelyn Went. He's a little bit bigger than them, maybe. But he can barely cover tight ends, man. Seriously. I mean, you saw he got burnt in that Michigan game and was able to swipe and knock that touchdown catch out of the tight end's hands. I've only watched that game 1,000 times since then, but he's getting beat by tight ends.
I don't know. I like that kid. I think he might be one of our best covered backers. But yeah, he didn't have the season I hoped he'd have last year.
Yeah, he started off well. He made a few plays here and there, but he also was out of position, and you can blame Shiano and the scheme and all that. And I agree that was part to blame for the defensive woes. But I don't know if Werner is a long-term solution. And I think just because you started last year doesn't mean you start this year.
I agree. I think it'll probably be him and Browning rotating in and out on that. Tough and Taraja in the middle, and Malik on the other side if he needs to blow. I don't know who they got behind him on the depth chart.
On his side would be probably weak side. So you got Kayvon Pope. Backing him up. Haven't seen much of him.
Dallas Gant.
He might be strong side, I think. So, I'd love to see those kids get on the field, though. Kayvon's wearing 36. But so yeah, those were the highlights from Ryan Day's press conference the other day. One thing I wanted to point out is he's not getting many questions about defensive ends, tight ends, and the corners. And that's because those three positions are basically loaded, especially D ends. I mean, you're going to have this, these positions are loaded, but they're young. We have this every year at Ohio State, right? I mean, you can remember just a couple of years ago when Chase Young was on the depth chart, but he was kind of buried. Then he got in there as a freshman, and we're like, oh, fuck, So I think we're going to see that with these young kids like Tyler Friday, Tyreek Smith. These kids they're all getting brought up by the players when they're asked about other young guys on the team to look out for, and even D tackle. That's another one nobody's talking about. We are loaded.
Dude, I think D tackles might be the most loaded position.
Yeah, it might be the strength of the team.
I mean, you got a lot of good dudes on that.
Yeah. You got depth and experience, both.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost 4 deep at some of those.
Right.
I mean, you got guys like Antoine Jackson that are probably the 4th.
Yeah, he's struggling to get reps. And he was a 5-star. I mean, you got Shawn, 5th-year senior. You got Togiai, renowned as strongest guy on the team, hands down.
He's a bowling ball.
Yeah, everybody says he's the strongest guy on the team. Don't fuck with him. Who else? Tron Vincent, we haven't seen much of.
He's going to be a beast.
Right. 2nd-year guy. You got Haskell Garrett, older guy that we haven't seen a lot of production out of yet. Who else?
BB Landers.
Oh, BB. Don't forget BB and Davon. Right there's 6 dudes, at the
6 or 7.
At the nose and the 3 tech. So, yeah, that might be the deepest, strongest position with experience, too. But D ends, I'm super excited to see these young guys just fly around. Javante Jean-Baptiste, JPP, can't wait to see him. He's got a single-digit number now. I think he's number 8. So that tells you something. When these guys start getting low, single-digit numbers, that means that they're getting looks by the coaches and they're getting approved by the upper management for those numbers. They don't just hand that out. So excited about that. Tight ends are loaded. Can't wait to see if they flex out into more of a split end or a flanker type tight end with Jeremy Ruckert.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got different tight ends that have different skill sets.
Luke Farrell's right now
those guys.
The hammer as far as blocking, reliable. Rashad Berry's good blocker, kind of limited as a receiver. And we ran through the corners, of course. But so yeah, a lot of questions to be answered, but I think we have a really good feeling of the direction we're headed as far as a 2 deep, don't you? Other than running back,
there's a couple. Well, I think we know most of 2 deep. It's a couple battles on who's going to be the one, Borland or Taraja, Werner or Browning.
Yeah. And just because somebody is a starter at that position, like say Tuff is the starter, does not mean he's going to get all the reps at middle linebacker. There's going to be games when we go against Purdue or somebody like a spread offense where you're not going to see a lot of middle linebacker just because you're not going to be useful. It's going to require 5 DBs.
Right. And I think they'll be more cognizant of that. I hope they are. But hey,
that's what they
the guys getting toasted all game long. We need to make a change.
Yeah. So, yeah, we definitely got to talk about this Jim Harbaugh quote. Smoothly transitioning into the Harbaugh bashing segment of the show. I'm going to play it for you. Hopefully you can hear it. If not, I'm going to read it to you as well. Oh, shit. Hold on. Trying to go make a drink and play something at the same time. Let go.
We've done a lot of good, including last year. I mean, we were co-Big Ten champions, but we haven't got to be Big Ten champions, and we haven't made the playoffs and beat Ohio State. So, our goal here is to win multiple championships. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to win the next game, and then the last game for us defines the season. So,
did you pick that up?
Yeah.
So,
he's such a
he said two different things there. He said the opposite in there. Did you catch that? He said we're co-Big Ten champions, but then he said right after that we still want to be Big Ten champions.
Right.
let me just back this up right here.
He stopped
short.
He's counting that co-East Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Hey, that counts. That's a championship.
Right.
He's hanging that one. I wonder if they raise a banner. Will they raise But then at the end he said, your last game defined you or whatever. Your last game you got blown out by Florida.
Yeah, he failed to mention the bowl game where they got smoked. The last game should not define you because you got smoked the last games. Fucking guy. Does he have any clue of reality? It's like he's watching two different seasons.
I know. He's nuts.
You guys gathering that up there?
I don't. He's still their guy. I'll tell you what. Let Ryan Day beat him this year. They all know this is their year. They got to do it this year. If they don't do it this year, it may never happen.
Well,
so I think they got a lot of eggs in this year's basket with Harbaugh. If he loses to Ryan Day at home with his loaded upperclassman roster, yeah, people are going to be mad. It will start getting hot. I mean, I hope they don't ever fire him. I hope I'm making fun of that idiot for the next 20 years.
Oh yeah, he's a major content creator for us. So I don't want that to go away. I do love the clown show, but
the Michigan guys up here, they'll say, "Oh, you just want him to go because you're afraid of him." Like, what? We beat him every time. I want you to keep him forever. You still there? You're breaking up.
Sorry, I just muted myself. Yeah, I don't think that makes any sense at all. If they want a coach that's going to win 10 games and probably lose either to Ohio State or a bowl game against a decent SEC team, then that's what they got. And they can accept that. If their fans can, then great. But I know I couldn't. But that's why we're on different levels as Buckeyes versus Wolverines, We're on different expectations.
Right now, but we put up with it for 11 years with Cooper.
Right, but yeah, I know. It was a different set of circumstances, I feel, because the playoffs are the best 4 teams in the country. That's our goal. Michigan doesn't seem like the playoffs are their ultimate goal. They feel like what I read from his comments are, if we backdoor our way in, then great, but we don't really expect to be there. We're kind of just happy with winning the Big Ten. That's our ultimate goal because we haven't done it. So, I don't know, man. I think it's just low expectations.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of that weirdo. I don't know why any kid wants to go play for him. He's so freaking weird. I mean, maybe it's all a big joke. Maybe he's just screwing with us. And when he's around the guys, he's like super cool.
Maybe, but I haven't heard anybody say that. You know,
that's
former players or reporters or anybody, current players.
Well, when they hired Harbaugh, I don't know if you remember, you had a bunch of people clamoring to give him a lifetime contract. And those people that were clamoring back then for that, I do not believe they would want to give him a lifetime contract at this point in his career.
I thought that was more recent, like within the last year.
That might have been. Who would do that?
People that have low expectations and like to win 10 games a year, you know, and if you're lucky, beat Ohio State once every 5. And,
7.
Yeah. And maybe win a Big Ten here or there, but I wouldn't put them up against. I wouldn't confidently say they could beat a couple teams in the West if they made it to the Big Ten championship game.
Well, let's see how that West pans out. I still think it's weak. I think the Big Ten might be weak this year, except for Ohio State, Michigan.
Well, you know, if you follow ESPN and the media, you know, nationwide.
Why would I follow those jack-offs?
Well, I don't either, but even national writers that have a lot of experience and have been around the block for a long time, they're all saying that Nebraska is going to be so great, and look out for Northwestern still because they got 5-star, transfer quarterback, and don't count out Iowa.
They're gonna be solid teams and maybe even top 20 teams. But I think there's gonna be such a drop off between the top 6-7 teams to those teams that are in the 17-18 that it's just because there's no other really good teams in the country.
Yeah, I agree. The West is weak, but
you never know. I mean, some of those teams sometimes they got to row the boat, right? Up there in Minnesota.
Oh.
Wisconsin can surprise you with some young stud farm boy linemen that just come in and dominate everyone, and their running back goes off for 2,300.
They're in trouble with their quarterback situation as always. You know, they got this 5-star kid as a freshman that's coming in, but he hasn't done anything, and the incoming guy that's returning, what's his name? I fucking forget. Jack Cohn, is that his name? This guy's horrific. He's like lower rated than Rutgers quarterback in the conference. So it's like, I'm not worried about whiskey. Except for where I'm going to get my next bottle. Hey-o!
Hey.
But, yeah, I think just Michigan has lower expectations. They don't have national, expectations like they used to. And, it's kind of...
They want to.
Oh, yeah, they want to, but so do I. But we have realistic expectations. We've been there in the last couple decades. They shared that 96 championship?
96 or 97? 97 maybe?
Co-national champs?
Was it with Nebraska?
Yeah, I think so. Co-national champs, just like co-Big Ten champs.
Co-Big Ten champs. He'll be like, everyone knew I meant the East, and we did. We tied for first in the East. Yeah, nice work.
But you didn't get a trophy. You didn't go to the Big Ten championship game. If you want some comedy,
you didn't beat your rival.
Right. That's what it all comes down to.
You got destroyed by him.
And that's why I expect if we don't beat Michigan last game of the season this year, then we probably won't get into the Big Ten championship. And I'll be fine with it. It'll suck, but I'll understand. You know? I'm not going to say, oh, we were co-Big Ten East champs. Fuck. That doesn't even make sense, man. Come on. Planet are we on? This is fucking football.
I know, there's a tiebreaker.
Yeah, he seems like the ultimate competitive guy that's going to be a dick about everything, and if his kid's got a participation trophy, he'd bust it over his knee and throw it in the trash, right? Doesn't he seem like that guy? That's like him. That is like him to a T. And now all of a sudden he wants to try and claim some kind of made-up championship that doesn't exist. You know? It's a fucking joke.
He's a weird dude.
This guy. This fucking guy.
I can't wait till his presser after he loses to after Ryan Day puts another whipping on him. I hope Ryan Day opens us up and puts those other 2 touchdowns on him and gets like 77 points this year.
Oh, God.
We laid down for those guys.
Tell you what, our defense is going to be a lot better. We're not going to give up 39 this year.
I'll bet your sweet ass that if Herbert Meyer knew Harbaugh was going to run his mouth after he left, he would have hung a couple more on him.
Yep. Yeah. They should have had. He should have waited till after Big Ten Media Days to retire. Put it off 6 months. Harbaugh will keep his fucking mouth shut then. So that's comical. I'm sure that he'll be full of useless information between now and football season. And we ran through the. Please go back and check some of the old episodes, folks, where we ran through the Vegas regular season wins. I think they were at 9.5. I got my bet in at the under. I'm going under.
On who?
For Michigan. And I got the Buckeyes over 10.
I go over.
Oh, fuck no.
Let's see. Michigan's schedule sets up easy for them. Everybody's at home.
No, we got an easy schedule.
They don't play Nebraska, and they don't play like Northwestern.
They got a tough schedule, dude, compared to ours. I'll take our schedule all day long. It sets up well for Ryan Day being a first-year coach. Michigan's starts off, okay, here we go. Middle Tennessee. I do have to bring up one funny thing I don't think we've talked about because it's been a long time. So let's go back and think about when App State beat Michigan in the Big House. I know it was a long time ago, but, I like reminiscing sometimes, especially about positive things. And, you have to pay these little schools to come and play in your stadium. They probably paid App State $1 million or close to it to come and kick their own ass in the Big House.
well, basically that game was like the start of the slide. Going on
Lloyd Carr
slide.
That was the end of Lloyd Carr. Yeah. Yeah, that was right before Rich Rod took over and stuff. I do believe Lloyd Carr was still coach then, but I was thinking about that today. I was listening to 97.1 out of Columbus, and they were talking about App State because they have a breakdown of the Buckeyes non-conference games, and basically they're paying these schools $3 million altogether to come in to Columbus. I think Cincy was only like $300K. FAU was like 1.3, and Who was the last team?
Cincy probably negotiated, hey, that's fine, but I want something at the box. Give me something at the box office.
Yeah. Oh, Miami was like 1.4. So Miami must need to cash. But anyway,
they're like, look, you're gonna kick our ass. It's gonna
right
cost you a little more than that.
Shawn, week 3 for Michigan at Wisconsin is no fucking gimme. I could see them getting fucking railroaded by that O-line. And Jonathan Taylor.
Well, here's why it's no gimme, is because look at last year's standings. And they play Army the week before that. Army is like a top 20 team. And Army...
Great point.
I would not lay down on Army.
Oklahoma almost did.
They're going to... Yeah, they did almost. And Army's going to... Oh, they're going to hammer that ball all day on you.
Yeah. So you waste a whole week, maybe 2 weeks, prepping for Army, and then you got to go to Wisconsin and facing a bunch of road graders. Enjoy. And Jonathan Taylor, who, what did he rush for? Almost 2,000 yards last year? Like, he's around 1,900, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so there, your Army at Wisconsin, that's a tough little early stretch.
Yep. You got to bounce back with Rutgers and then Iowa, but that's in Michigan, so a little reprieve slightly.
Iowa's in Michigan?
Yep. Then you got at Illinois, at Penn State. I'll probably give it to Michigan by a touchdown, just because Penn State doesn't have a quarterback.
I'm real curious to see who Penn State is, if they're any good at all or what.
If they bring the heat that week, if Penn State, if their defense can show up and keep Michigan like under, 21 points, which doesn't seem to be a big problem anymore, then they got Notre Dame the following week. In the big house, though, so it's a home game. But I would, oh, man. I got to think Notre Dame's a better quality team.
I don't know. That's the two most overhyped teams in the history of overhyped teams.
Sure.
It's tough to say.
Yeah, you got to sift through a lot of bullshit with the two of them, with the fine-tooth bullshit comb. But if Penn State gives them a ball game, I think that's Michigan's trap game right there. Penn State right before Notre Dame.
We'll look at those dates, though. Are any of those buys between those?
No. These are all back-to-back. Their bye week is early, right after Army. So
that's good for them. It gives them a chance to
prep for
prepare
whiskey.
for regular football.
Yeah, get ready for Wisconsin. But they don't get the double bye week like we do. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, they do. They have one between Maryland. So after Notre Dame, you got Maryland and then Sparty. So they got a bye before Sparty. That helps them.
Before Sparty at Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Poor Sparty. They'll be crying about that. That's unfair.
Right. And then Indiana and then us. So maybe they can heal their wounds there over the bye before Sparty and the Buckeyes.
Yeah, but
I'm going Notre Dame on that game right now, dude. I need to see if there's a fucking spread out for that yet. I'm really curious. Because Notre Dame got so fucked. 7 teams have a bye before their game with Notre Dame, including Georgia. They got Georgia at Georgia. Enjoy. SC. Navy. Stanford. Yikes. I want
Michigan.
Yeah. I want no part of their schedule.
Just join a conference.
they're basically telling you have to at this point with that kind of bullshit. Okay, who we got? Ooh, Notre Dame is plus 10.5 at Georgia right now. Oh, that's tough. I don't know.
Georgia.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Michigan is 7.5 point favorites against Notre Dame right now. At home. That's a tough call.
Sounds about right.
That's a tough fucking call, man. I would go Irish on that. Give me the points.
Michigan's gonna be good, dude.
Irish,
I know you don't want to.
Irish ain't no joke either. They got some boys in the trenches.
I know we've lost a few to them the last few years, but who's their quarterback?
Tyler Booger.
Not familiar with that talent.
Or Ian Book, I'm sorry. I was looking for a way to work Booger into the conversation. Ian Book, he took over for Wimbush last year. So Wimbush transferred. I believe he's down here at UCF. I think. Punk bitch. He beat fucking Michigan. I don't know how do you bench him? Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Wimbush is at UCF.
Because Wimbush sucks.
I don't know, man.
That's how you had to bench him.
Buckeyes wanted him, but he would have been developed at Ohio State. Not sure Notre Dame's developing quarterbacks at the same clip. So yeah, I don't see a need to get into Zach Smith's pissing match with Nick Saban. People can read that on their own if they want.
Yeah, who cares about that?
The text message dump last Friday was fucking really random. Basically, what I gathered from it is that Herb's messages with President Michael Drake were much more loving than we thought they were. Herb saying thank you for your support with my coaching staff, and saying the current market is aggressive and it's never been like this, blah blah blah. And he touched on his assistants at the time that were all getting poached and offered jobs. Like he says, Shiano was offered a job at Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida State, and 3 jobs in the NFL, which we did see come to fruition. He was offered the New England Patriots job, DC job, which he took and then quickly a month later resigned from. Weird.
Because he can't do that. He can't stop college offense.
Apparently. Zach Smith was offered the passing coordinator job at Alabama. Ryan Day was offered, we presume, an offensive coordinator job at UCLA and with the Tennessee Titans in the NFL. And he was offered the head coaching job at Mississippi State, which Joe Moorhead from Penn State took. This is all back in 2017, by the way. And Kerry Combs was offered jobs at Alabama and the Titans. Obviously, he took the Titans job, working under Vrabel. And then Alex Grinch, obviously, was offered jobs at Alabama, UCLA, Mississippi State, and, of course, most recently, Oklahoma. So, yeah. No really groundbreaking news there. Saban denies offering the guy the job, and just because, Zach Smith has no way to refute it other than his podcast. So, understandable why Saban would just say, no, we didn't offer that.
Yeah, I mean, even who cares? Coaches get offered. All kinds of coaches get offered every year. They probably get a lot more offers than that. Those are just the good offers you're hearing about.
Yeah. Zach Smith, I listen to his podcasts every episode. He has some great insider information that we would never hear otherwise, of like the inner workings of not just Ohio State, but coaching in general and recruiting and all that crap. And Earl Bruce, Zach's grandfather, actually fired Nick Saban back in the day, you know, and it was because Saban was a young, you know, I think he was like a DB's coach or something for Earl, and he was mouthing off and like being really disrespectful, so Earl was forced to fire him. And this is Zach, from what Zach says anyways, that other coaches said that he had no choice, and that Saban said he should have been fired, you know, when Zach met with him back in 2017. So, I don't know. So you wonder if there was some kind of negativity still lingering, where Saban wasn't really offering the job, and maybe he was just trolling for information about the Buckeyes. Who knows?
The mind of Saban. He's a weirdo too, but at least he wins.
He's pretty straightforward. I don't think he's that psycho. I mean, he's like a Belichick kind of guy.
Yeah, well, he's not as weird as... Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure he does play his little head games with people, especially his players, but who doesn't, you know? Herb does that shit. That's why they call players out in press conferences, to get their attention, you know? But Saban, like, will choose a topic and then just run with it when he's in a press conference, and not even doesn't even relate to the question. You know, he'd be like, yeah, and fuck that. I'm tired of this stuff. And you're like, I didn't even ask that question.
They'll be like, well, we saw your offensive struggle. He's like,
yeah.
And he'll go on about defense, because he's like, that's what's on his mind, and that's what he wants to talk about.
I'm not going to be the Alabama head coach. Things like that don't make sense. Might be.
I'm not going to be the Alabama coach that sits here and blows sunshine up your ass.
Today. I'm not going to be the Alabama head coach. You forgot to say today. Or this hour. Biggest bullshitter ever. I can't believe he got kids to play for him after that. But anyway. Anything else you want to cover tonight, Shawn?
I think I'm good.
I think we got the 2 deep hammered out, right?
As far as I can tell.
Yeah. So as always, folks, thank you for joining us. We had a good time tonight. Do you have enough to drink, Shawn?
Yeah, I'm all set. It's about my bedtime.
Yeah, good call. All right, folks. Thank you again. Don't forget, hit up the BuckeyeCast.com. Pick up a t-shirt.
Peace.
Have a good one, Henry.
Later.
Later.